All right, guys, come on into this dimension and namaste, galactic family. Welcome back to the channel, IndigoAngel. Come on into this cosmic grid container and this cosmic grid update. It has been a little while since I've done a grid worker update, and I hope that going forward over the next few months, I'm going to pick up on and increase these types of updates as we are starting to move forward and prepare for Gridwork Facilitator Course 2.0. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But overall, we're going to do a cosmic grid update on the breakdown of all of the spiritual earthly systems and the connecting networks that hold this planet together in the face of a diabolical doomsday and in the face of an Armageddon, basically in the face of what we should say a real judgment day, or what we could say as the negative, so to speak, target the Earth for complete annihilation. Now, this is kind of looking at things speculatively as to what these systems exist for, under what circumstances, and what could potentially happen if the total cataclysm or the totality of the extremism of this unfolded or play out. But in the meantime, if those things aren't happening, there's still weaponization systems and defense systems that exist on the planet that are very extensive, that are already anciently built into the Earth's grids through ley lines and grid lines and megalithic structures and so on and so forth. And so we're going to get into all of that today. This is definitely going to be an advanced grid work topic: technology, vocabulary, intellect, ascension capacity across the board. So basically, if you're learning all of this information, you definitely want to check in with the coursework that I have been offering to those of you who are interested in learning from a beginner level all the way to the advanced levels. But essentially, I do kind of speak from that advanced place, assuming that most of you have been following me for a while, and you do kind of already know what this is all about. You're already on that level. Most that come to work with me or speak to me or contact me are already on this level to some degree. And we're just going to be taking this a little bit further than I have talked about in the past. I have done videos in the past about planetary weapon systems, planetary spiritual defense systems. But we're going to go a little bit further today, and I'm going to add some things in that I feel is going on overall. Especially, I've been suspecting, or what has been looming in my consciousness for quite some time, I mean, the last few years, is that they are propagating a controlled pole shift through their planetary weapons. So yeah, I've been hinting on this for some time, but we're gonna touch on more of this in this cosmic grid update and how I think that they might be initiating a controlled pole shift. But essentially, I really want to go over too towards the latter of this video is, what do we have on this earth that protects humankind, mankind, womankind, in accordance to the destruction technology, angelic kind? So I think that, a lot of it's definitely being overlooked. Again, one, because this is such expanded intellect and intel that's coming in, right? That, I don't think that maybe the right wisdom keepers ultimately have this information to be doing, their due diligence and their part with the information, to be really working as that guardian, that grid keeper, that gatekeeper, that parental role on this earth that supports, all of the living beings and consciousness on this planet. But also, I just think that maybe, people haven't had the capacity to fully attain this. So the time has come, you guys. I think that this knowledge is really needed now, especially as, me and my groups of people are gearing up for greater grid worker evolution missions. One of them particularly being a visit down to Kauai to utilize the inner Earth Gate access systems there to recorrect and extract just the evil consciousness, mechanical beast machine trons that are existing inside of the earth to go in and kind of work on what is reversal within the internal planetary universal tree of life and so on. So we have some big things in the works. And you can look over all of that really at learn.indigoangel222.com. I do believe I have my Hawaii mission located there, and then also my Gridwork Facilitator 2.0, which is the next course that I'm going to be teaching by myself, actually. So I'm really looking forward to my individual studies, my individual knowledge, my individual concepts, and really putting together this information, because I think you guys are going to be fully delighted with how expanded this particular sector of the course is going to be. I'm going to touch on a little bit of it today with you guys, with going over the controlled pole shift, planetary spiritual defense systems expanded, and then also spiritual defense systems, which again, this is a topic that has been coming up more and more. And we even touched on it when we had Gene Decode last on the channel. So I just want to say thank you to Mr. Gene Decode for coming on. God bless Mr. Decode. And I want to honestly say to all of his haters that are saying that he's a controlled opposition or a controlled narrative, I want you guys to really take a step back and just kind of, if you can, look through that smoke and mirror that's happening right now. Look through the mind control, the propaganda of the federations, the Tothian groups, the Maldek and Marduk groups, the lost souls, really, those who are not even connected to God, those who are not even connected to source, those that want to play in manipulated descended master realms, and just the false prophets that, you know, come from this stuff. I don't think Gene Decode propagates himself as a prophet. I think he propagates himself as somebody who's genuinely trying to help and support humanity. And I think that he's truly working on the side of good to help save humanity from the dark by really helping people see the true path to the light and to source. And yeah, he's got a lot of information. But I think that his intentions always feel really pure and aligned to me. So I just wanted to kind of speak on his behalf, just because I think he's a very pure heart and someone that has been loyal and trustworthy for his entire YouTube career. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. If you are intrigued by that video with him, you're definitely going to want to watch this one all the way through. I'm going to be speaking directly, you know, about these things in more detail. And I'm going to be probably pulling up some pictures if I can. We'll see how much I can pull up to support that. A really great reference for you guys is to go to my website at IndigoAngel222.com, sign up for the newsletters, and then also read my blogs, because my blogs are kind of like my data keeping. It's my record keeping of all of my written literature, all of my own authenticated concepts, my artwork, everything is kind of there. So that's where you will find the bulk of my pictures, my diagrams that are going to corroborate to what I'm telling you guys today. And I also want to say too, just disclaimer, that it's always good to verify the information that I'm talking about yourself. So research, and, you know, I'll often place references as well down in the descriptions to things that I look at and where I pull things. So always check my descriptions, because I do leave a lot there, a lot of cookie crumbs and just, you know, shout outs to where some of this stuff comes from, because not all of it is my authentic work. Of course, it's a collaboration of my research, things that I reference, and then also expand off of, right? Because that's what we are supposed to be doing with this knowledge, is to bring it in, break it down, interpret it according to our own gnosis, find our truth in the material, and then expand within our own intellectual capacities upon things and create discussion, create new ways of thinking, create new realms and worlds for people to exist in and walk through, and hold those spiritual gateways open to the new earth systems, the new earth prophecies, ultimately, because this is what we're all actually doing in the greater picture, as we're working towards building the new earth for the new children of earth. So if you're new to the channel, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Also hit that notifications bell if you are returning, and like, comment, and share this video out to your like-minded ascension friends, those who are going through the next wave of awakening. And let's get into it. So basically, we have had a massive amount of negative controller planetary modification technology weaponry. Okay, I know that's a mouthful, but you have to think about this as alien tech. Expanded intellectual, ancient, historical technology that's Earth-based weapon systems, okay, that have been much more activated in a more destructive way since recently in the timelines going back 6,000 years. But truly, this became hyper weaponized against humanity about 70,000 to 200,000 years ago, when we're talking cataclysm of Lemuria. Okay, we're talking first and second cataclysm timelines of Atlantis. This was heavily when the fall programming came in. And honestly, due to a lot of the very dangerous, manipulative, man-based prophecies, doctrines that have underlined the need for patriarchal domination and control, total governance over womb abduction, total governance over humans' beliefs on this planet, essentially. The human's core soul consciousness and belief structures is ultimately what the war on consciousness is about. It's what the war on the planet is about. It's about much more than that. Resources, land grabs, genocide, ethnic cleansing, interplanetary expansion, becoming a universal species and beyond, etc. There's a lot of agendas that are going on, right? Race domination. There's so much that goes into this, but it's all contributing basically to a spiritual control capacity and sphere within the earth that is basically working as a great divide from heaven and earth. It's basically separating the realms of heaven and earth. When you talk about the 3D, 5D divisions, you talk about what's installed in the firmament in terms of the separation of the higher heavenly realms. It's basically a frequency fence that's getting installed between the mental structures, the spiritual structures, the hearts of men, of women as well, of the human species, of the most advanced, consciousness beings on the planet. And so we've had a lot of beginning documentation that reptilian diabolical experiments, the presence of reptilian consciousness, predatorial consciousness, enslavement, forced breeder programs, hybridization programs have initiated heavily over the reproductive of pure genetic human bloodlines, angelic human bloodlines, essentially, but mostly dominated again through the Ioni tribes, the Pacific Lemurian Islanders, tribal native and indigenous groups in the last seedings. And this digression, again, from Lemuria all the way to Christopher Columbus, all the way to the great expansion of galactic colonizer technologies to current modern AI enslavement now. So it's a never-ending progression of feeding off what has come before, reintegrations of archaic revivals, negative or positive, and just the lower density, lower timeline fields, lower purgatory shadow realms, and black hole system realms, phantom realms, dark realms of Earth, fragmented Tiamat shadow bodies that ultimately hold the descent of man into a war-minded, aggressive, predatorial, Maldekian, Marduk, Tothian-based society that has spanned over multiple millennia. And that ultimately brought in extremely detrimental technologies, beginning with the crystal generator blowups, all the way to CERN particle accelerators, starting in the timeline of Atlantis. Okay, which particle accelerators ultimately are electromagnetic Earth-based grid disruptors that weaken the magnetic field of the planet, which in turn degrades and shreds the internal structures of the biofield. And it just breaks down the total spiritual immune system of the planet, and which also contribute to what is happening now on the planet when we talk about global warming and we talk about record heats just raising and rising as high as they can go. I mean, 2023 was the hottest summer on record for over since like pre-Homo erectus was on the planet. Okay, so we talk about the things, whether we want to get into the arguments of what's accelerating those things or not, there is a degradation within the spiritual immune system of the planet, whether it's due to artificial, organic, natural, or evolutionary processes or ascension processes within the planet that are happening or not. Regardless, it's all been well documented that in Atlantis, this timeline is responsible for an inception of the fall of man, veil, disillusion, and programming that has reduced humanity to the moral integral code of fallen angels. Okay, and you see this with the majority of the collective worshiping Satanism, okay, worshiping corporate reality, corporate America, corporate world-based mindsets, where the philosophy is finances over the survival and kindness of humankind, right? The survival of these things taking priority over getting hungry orphans and sick children in Africa food and, basic human principles to live and survive that are not, ultimately being provided. And then you have the level of experimentation that's going on the planet as well when it comes to how we basically select certain groups for to be seen as dispensable or disposable, basically for any type of experimentation, whether it's needlecraft technology, disease progression, I want to say inocular cure, where it's like they're developing proto cures or like symptom cures, which they work to solely just alleviate symptoms of diseases, illnesses, and sicknesses versus actually creating cure. So regardless, I don't have to explain the visibility of how humanity has fallen ultimately into a fallen angelic human mindset. If you look at what most of those who are spiritually awakening, a lot of the repair is around simply just releasing enslavement to crucifixion and persecution wounding, all the way to repairing of seventh dimensional consciousness, gnosis in general, and the belief that their I am presence is ultimately integral to the capacity that they can repair the angelic consciousness in the angelic body. Okay, because they are so fallen up underneath the perception of unworthiness when it comes to source or when it comes to God or when it comes to just genuinely being good, which honestly leads me to believe that there is that cap, okay, that wall that's inserted between the heart and the higher gnosis and the mind, ultimately somehow incepting within the planetary sphere of the heavenly angelic realms as well. So that it's gone collective versus individual, because if it's already individual and experienced on a human level, it's already gone collective. But regardless of that cloud of smoke amongst men, there seem to be advanced extraterrestrial pre-planetary control structure design within the Earth. And this is a concept that really expands your mind to, for many, the imagination, or what may even seem like the impossible. You have to really have basis in the holographic grid fields and what this is consisting of. But there are several components of planetary prison system technologies that seek to limit humans. And they like to conduct all the planetary modification weapon systems Whether they're categorized within this or not, I'm doing that simply to try to bring some frame of reference around this. I don't know how much of this has been conglomerated into one teaching or not. I'm going to be working to deliver this as organized as possible within the capacities of these systems and technologies for the coursework, for Gridwork Facilitator 2.0, as I do feel it is absolutely imperative that our facilitators of Gridwork do understand the extensiveness, again, of these weapon systems and the defense systems and what we have available to us for that intermediary position and purpose. So we have these planetary modification weapon systems that go from black cubes of Saturn, okay, to that are ultimately an internal beast structure machine. Okay, it can look like a black tesseract cube that is ultimately linked into kind of a living hologram of Saturnian matrix that rotates inside of the planet. This emanates the spike cube matrices. Okay, so these are actual magnetic a double negative magnetic beam that's digging into deep places along the 33rd parallel. But really it's anywhere from the 22nd to the 44th. Okay, so it's going to be in the main hypertension zone of the planet. And this is where it's really coming from an internal structure inside of the Earth. And it's digging into from an internal place up underneath grid structures of particular locations, such as Israel, Palestine, Egypt, the United States, China, etc. Really anywhere that's World War III zone, that's an artificial intelligent development Silicon Valley base, anywhere that is, on 6G hyper technological advancement where they're going negative into human evolutionary existence. Ground zero points such as Washington, D.C., and also several locations in China. And essentially, they're like these spike matrix that move inside of the land gates with the Saturnian rods, and they're degrading the internal matrices in which realities are formed from these locations. Okay, so taking out the heart frequency of the planet, killing all natural land spirits or land consciousness or heartbeat pulses to the Earth's patterning, collapsing down positive or fifth dimensional stargate locations and turning them into reversal patterns, etc. Everything that you can ultimately think of that could be killing the existence of heart-based human awareness and consciousness, nullifying, degrading, and eradicating is ultimately happening. So let's talk about what these beast machines and these beast Earth plugs actually, technically is. So a lot of it has descended through, again, Atlantis and the fall of man programming. A lot of it has come down through the Seals of Solomon, dark and occult black magic on the planet. So if you think you're somebody that's dabbling in black magic, just for whatever reason, just to have the information, you may want to second guess and think about stopping these things and not doing this type of magic because it's riddled with connections to demonic spirits that are ultimately summoned to have reversal effect upon you when you ultimately engage with the material, when you engage with the work. So if you're working with any sort of Seals of Solomon, I would highly suggest not doing that. Because the Beast Machine Earth plug, the main seal is the Seal of Solomon. They say that this is actually hyper installed around the entire continent of Africa itself, which can only be undone through Ark of the Covenant technology. And it said it also came with the Staff of Moses. It was one of the artifacts that held the separation codes. And it's ultimately an alien machinery technology held in place in the planetary body through massive levels of reversal AI collective mind control and programming. And this infects the black subtle forces in the Earth's elemental field and dark matter, and again works with the parasitic Metatronic invasion of the flower of life geometry. which is the inverted universal tree of life, which runs the flower of life geometry into a reversal pattern. This reversal energy, I think, does go deep into the planetary core, where the axis is also now currently running on reversal spins, as well as the solar body in this universal system, according to Gene Decode, which is very interesting. So there's more galactic technology that ties in to have explanations for this, but ultimately, I think this is what the vast scale of the human race is ultimately functioning upon. And so the trons are the alien machinery. Now, trons are separated forms of AI technology that operate according to the beast machine technology. They plug into that machinery and then act as a magnetic stronghold via magnetic field manipulation and rod and staff manipulation, affecting blank slate amnesia and invasion technology. This is one of the reasons in how they weaken particular targeted areas of the grid or human lineages or races for infiltration. So this is a greater part of this weapon system, which is a very real thing that is happening that we do not get into at all because we're too distracted with Hollywood. We're too distracted with politics. We're too distracted with what Trump is doing, which me personally, I really don't care. I really don't pay attention to it because I know what's happening deep within the microplanetary negative conversion quantum processes. And it's so intense and severe. No one's covering this aspect of things that I just, you know where your niche is, right? You know where you need to invest your energy. And right now they run reversal energy tactics, black hole and wormhole technologies on planetary stargates and major spiritual vortices. Fourth gate planetary stargate Giza. Okay, Bermuda Triangle. The technology is implemented in reverting that location and has been since the fall of Atlantis. Bermuda Triangle is not a safe Stargate vortex, which I just seen being propagated on YouTube by other YouTubers. And I got messaged by somebody who sent it to me to say, look at this. I was like, why are they telling people to access the Bermuda Triangle Stargate? This is a reversal gate system. You will get sucked into the black hole 666 wormhole system, Tower of Babel, whatever. Those Babylonian seals are not fully integrable at this point. Okay, so what's coming through there is faulty and it is reversal. Why do you think planes and ships sink into the Bermuda Triangle like it's not an unknown thing? So there's so much Decepticon that's running within the spiritual community. There's not a lot of tact and there's not a lot of ethic. There's not a lot of morality. There's not a lot of research. It's all done for clout. Let's just put it this way. So you want to be working with the real ones, people who actually have real investigated technology, boots on the ground experience, and much more extensive capacity to be in contact with those that also have those for reference points upon other affiliates for opinions. Let's just put it this way. Because we can't do this work alone, and you never will be able to do this entirely alone. This is a planetary guardian rescue mission. This is a planetary guardian upgrade and install amongst multiple collectives in which are being called upon, heart-based frequency, higher heart collectives in which have attained all 48 dimensions of ascension capacities. Okay, not 12, 48. So they're running the reversal energy tactics, implementing and reverting several locations that once were fifth dimensional stargates, such as the Bermuda Triangle, such as Stonehenge. Stonehenge has completely been reverted, and I will get into that, into faulty artificial and reversal energies. Not all of them are manipulated, but the majority of on the Earth are. But the thing is as the planetary force moves, so do the stargate locations as well. And some of them become inadequate, or the vortex power dies itself. So it once was that and no longer is type of thing. But reversal encoding simply means that anti-life architecture or anti-life purpose and meaning. Okay, it's important for you to know that if you dabble and play within these without knowledge of how to operate reversal systems, they will completely decompose your life. okay, because it is the closest that one can get to the feeling of being in a black hole, being sucked into a black hole or a wormhole on the Earth body. Okay, and they can stir up deep levels of pain, hatred, betrayal, envy, greed, lust. Everything that's dark inside you will become amplified. And in some cases, they completely disconnect one from source code and even results in a possession and a haunting, which I have seen happen. Okay, and this is a real deal. This is the real thing. There are many locations on the earth. You can find this at my website, IndigoAngel222.com, under the Gridworker glossary, which will be being updated over the next month with several new ads and descriptions to Gridwork vocabulary and what things are in that glossary. So please keep an eye on my glossary if you're one who's already read it or not, but it's going to be being updated. Examples of reversal stargates in the planet at this time: Vatican, Rome, it's a 5D reversal. CERN, Geneva, Switzerland, it's a 12D reversal gate. Metatronic AI, Stonehenge as Nephilim, AI reversal stargate. We have underwater stargates in Aden, Orion reversal stargates, Inishmore, Ireland. We have 666 wormhole, Bermuda Triangle, Statue of Liberty, Hollywood, California. Is a harvesting gate site. Silicon Valley, Las Vegas, clearly, Shenzhen, China, Shanghai, China, and then several other random locations where we have other agencies. I'll just put CERN operations, and then negative dark military involvement in particular areas such as Colorado. Colorado has become a big location for this now. Cheyenne Mountains, Kennesaw Mountains, Georgia. This is a state that has been highly known for this, that was covered up most predominantly with the Georgia Guidestones, which I did an entire video series on the Georgia Guidestones prior to the explosion, and which I attended the Georgia Guidestones 3 months before their impact and did a major clearing. And then shortly after that, they were eradicated, and there was so much more that, information that came forward about how extensive the dark military bases do run in Georgia, and the nuclear weapon systems and the underground tunnel facilities that go all the way up the Appalachian trails, basically running along the East Coast. So there's a lot in this, and I highly suggest, if you can, visit my YouTube channel and go back to some of the other videos. I'll try to leave some of the links down in the description for you guys, so you can, if you are interested in studying on the depth of what's going on in Georgia, how much of the Achelan celestial systems are involved in those patriarchal control structures, Nephilim, and also, Dark Orion and Dark Draco Reptilian, basically. So it's a deep dive under, about how much of the operations are kept in secrecy and what's ultimately happening. Another one of the major weapon systems, you guys may heard of the gears of the Giza systems. I can't remember the guy who talked about this. I think it was actually a couple different guys who talked about the gears of Giza. Prior to uploading this video, I will leave the reference to the book that I had read about the gears of Giza system, but it's another weapon system basically in the pyramid network on the planet. And it's in the center of one of the Giza pyramids. I think it might be Khufu. I can't remember which pyramid it was, but basically it's kind of like a power plant that they keep in there. And it's a machine for the production of power off of that Stargate. Of course, they're going to try to create things to power that Stargate and pull it into a reversal. I can't say for sure if the Giza has been pulled into a reversal. I don't think it has. I did recently attend that Stargate system in 2020. And at that time, I didn't feel that they had the full capacity to actually turn that gate system, that it's such a highly solar powered gate system, functioning so much on this earth in terms of Stargate power. The race morphogenetic field, souls incarnating into the planet, connected to the lunar incarnation matrix and lunar Stargate system as well, that there was such a high pure power production organic energy that they can't really turn that gate into a reversal, but they can definitely try to hijack it. So they call it a Giza Death Star trilogy that's designed to be utilized as a planetary weapon. I think it's one of the reasons in how they can manipulate directed energy weapons from the 33rd parallel and so on and so forth. And this may be what they aim for when using, the directed energy weapons down in Antarctica as well, that they are strategically using it kind of as something that can shift or direct specific targets, and just use it for any particular global catastrophic diabolical plan, such as emanating weather patterns, activating fault lines, activating volcanoes at horrible times, activating potential fires, as you've seen down in Hawaii recently with that great, horrible thing that happened. And so, yeah, I think they're using this tech to invert the organic consciousness as some sort of intrepid guilt that gets installed into the land consciousness as well, storing the fall programming in the land grid templates, which really makes it even harder for humans to clear it, because now it's impacted in a negative form of consciousness, almost kind of like a autoimmune disease upon itself. So where the Earth's cells would be wanting to kill itself or act upon itself on a level of harm against its own mother mitochondrial cells, whether it's Earth-based or human-based mitochondria, but by utilizing the organic consciousness to create destruction, death, and diabolical actions against the pure and living consciousness forms on the planet. So that's one thing that's going on in the pyramid system that needs to stop. Dark military cooperation with the negative ETs needs to stop. Dark Willy Wonka cooperation with the negative ETs needs to stop. All of the corruption in underground facilities, bases, and tunnels needs to stop. It's a part of the weaponization system. Particle accelerators are part of the weaponization system, majorly. This is something I've been wanting to show you guys. I might have shown it in another video, but so this is a website that I came across called ELSA, and this is a list of all of the particle accelerators around the world. Okay, and so this is a virtual library of beam physics and accelerator technology, the Division of Physics of Beams, and the American Physical Society, and the Los Alamos Accelerator Code Group. All of this, in which you see over here, is code for particle accelerators that are active and currently working within the planet. Again, field destabilizer, magnetic field disruptors, this is what they are. This is ultimately to cause huge rips and tears in Earth's space-time continuum, huge degradation into the spiritual immune system of the planet, also alteration of time perception and human amnesic technology and invasion technology. And this is also working within smaller parts, which are called trons, which are just pieces of particle accelerators that work in cohesive with bigger beast machines. And they kind of break off into their subdivisions where they ultimately implement things around the world. So there are much more particle accelerators than you even have any awareness of whatsoever. These are all of the major colliders. There's so much in the planet that's installed. And it's a bigger deal than I think people even know and realize what's going on. This is why I'm telling you, weapon systems are massive and huge. I will leave this website down in the description so anyone can go read or look at this. And I highly recommend that you do, so you can have a clear understanding of, how extensive this is, that I'm not crazy, or you can think I'm crazy. I don't care if you think I'm crazy, but this is going to hit home for somebody that understands that they're building technologies to harm the planet, harm the survival of humanity here. Okay, survival of the fittest, survival of the races, world domination and control. This is what it's about. This is what the forced breeder and hybridization programs have been about since the beginning, is to abduct the wombs, okay, bring in degraded lower forms of consciousness for lower reptilian form agendas, which could herd the consciousness and collective into herd mindsets. They know that you are what you eat, so they feed you beef and cattle, okay, to keep you in a herd mindset so they can continue to rip apart the world through HAARP, through sky heaters, through weather modification, solar atmospheric and firmament manipulation, and planetary manipulation. This is what we're talking about. The list goes on. But the most major concern I currently have is what they have done to stage a controlled pole shift. You guys, this is a real thing. You hear about talking about a pole shift is imminent, a pole shift is emerging, pole shift is coming, the poles are moving, the poles are not where they were, they've migrated 10,000 miles in this direction, blah, 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 blah. It's a very real negative-based AI technology in which they're going to stage a controlled pole shift. Okay, just when are they going to do it? I feel in which it is a World War III tactic. So this is a perfect distraction campaign while everyone else thinks that the whole world is up in arms and this is about Israel and Gaza and Russia and the US and Ukraine and all of this covert World War III operations. It's to distract you from them setting of nuclear detonators at the planetary poles. I'm telling you, there's always something bigger looming that they're trying to cover up. Okay, I do think that the Dark Willy Wonkas, we know ultimately that it's been about population control. They do feel that population is a problem. They've said it very clearly. You've heard it out of the mouth of the green frog. And they create the needlecraft technology and, again, disease progression facilities to continue to pick off the weakest of their victims and so on. This is what the upgrade of EMF and electromagnetic radiation cell towers is doing to our bodies, creating sensitivities. Corporations have polluted our environment. One of their most diabolical schemes is to stage a controlled pole shift. I've been saying this for years at this point. The most prestigious of the elite, they're going to go underground at their point of elimination or World War III nuclear cataclysm. And they're going to artificially cleanse their artificial environment. Okay, and they do it by placement of strategic nuclear weapons. This is how they're going to do it underneath the polar ice cap. At least this is what, I'll leave a link to a article that I read on Bibliotech Pleiades, where they do talk about this a little bit more extensively. I can't go into the extensiveness of this here, but yeah, it's where they're placing nuclear weapons under the ice caps and detonating them, causing the cap to slip and causing the planet to rotate on its axis. So they've already done this before, you guys. They did it in Lemuria. We were on a complete pole shift tilt at that time. That's why you have to access a different pole shift tilt to even remote into the true fields, organic fields of Lemuria. You can't do it on this pole timeline. Okay, this is what they're going to do again. And this is fall of man programming. They think that they can just do whatever they want, that the planet is not a sovereign consciousness. Okay, and so if they execute this successfully, which they, again, have already done, I think particularly may even be why the dinosaurs went extinct. This may have been, it would be horrific because it's where within 24 hours of a controlled pole shift, 83 to 85% of the population would essentially drown. Okay, so it would immediately fix their population concerns, but they have to have all of their ducks in a row for ultimate Earth survival post this cataclysm, this controlled artificial pole shift. And happening, basically. I can talk about these things without really like having that much emotion because it's more of just like pure frustration and just idiocracy for me at this point. Being a devout researcher and just seeing how truly extensive the hidden actually is, the occult and esoteric sciences actually are. We know what they've done to Nikola Tesla's technology. We know what they've been doing this whole time. So to think that they wouldn't have a controlled pulse shift technological protocol in place at the poles, I think we would be kidding ourselves ultimately. And do we even know if pole shift is actually a real thing that is supposed to be occurring every so many thousand ascension cycles, years, whatever, rotations around the sun? Because what ultimately would cause that to shift organically? Think about that. I think something more greater would have to happen to the solar body itself. And as far as we know, it's just a burning ball of sun that's going to basically be burning for X amount of billions of years, and then it just burns out. There's not going to be some force or wave so planetarily impactful in terms of the electromagnetic field that would actually cause those poles to shift unless they're doing it intentionally. We have to kind of put some of that in perspective. Now, speaking of these spiritual planetary defense systems, okay, this is where we have ancient technologies. This is where we have things that have been brought according to the guardians, according to the spirits of the earth that seeded the original angelic human soul, the spirits that descended through the creation of the angelic realms, which were here before humans, which were here before earth, which were here before Satan, which were here before darkness, okay, which was here before anything descended into a diabolical blueprint in which they are held fully accountable for by source. Okay, so what happened is within these angelic creation bodies and templates within the earth, even prior to Tiamat, okay, back when things were really coming together, okay, I think this might have been installed in the Tiamat body, but if not, so it was definitely Tara. Okay, so these started in a 7th dimensional format and blueprint of the Earth's spiritual holographic consciousness sphere and body. So the Andromedan system installed specifically, I've talked about these diamond discs down in Antarctica. So why these negative controllers? They might know about these diamond discs in Antarctica. They came in, I believe, in the timelines of Gondwana was when it was like initially brought to the attention of those that were speakers at that time to bring forward the information. But essentially, these diamond discs were placed so that these diabolical destruction technologies wouldn't happen. So this is why we have defense systems on the earth. This is why no evil can conquer against the light. Ultimately, why it isn't a constant dance of polarity of shifting back and forth as the pendulum swings. The dark forces can't truly ever get ahead because the light was and is always one step ahead in terms of the processes of creation, period, across the board. So this was installed to protect the poles, to weather it against all storms, artificial, man-made, or organic storms. It's said that this is one of the major spiritual protection technologies, organic technologies, that was installed on the planet in its totality and is functioning 4,700 years in the future, okay, in terms of its protection. So those dark forces better be 4,700 years in the future. If not, they're playing catch up to the defense systems that have already been here. That was installed over 200 to 5,100 years on this planet. Gondwana shifting in a timeline that may be more ancient than we honestly, truly realize, shifting through in and out of Pangea consciousness and so on and so forth. So what I have been noticing is that there is a movement being generated on the planet at this time. If you have felt this movement within you, just know you're being activated by Defender, planetary Defender forces, Guardian aligned, Guardian Alliance aligned, planetarily speaking, and they have been activated through Guardian forces. It is a Defender force, celestial intelligences that work with the sovereignty of God, okay, and the creation protecting the law of one. Okay, it's kind of like the angelic realms that support God's infiniteness and supreme being. And they're high-level light beings at this time that have achieved high-level protection and facilitation rankings that are being chosen right now. And this goes for all human beings that feel that they are a part of the guardian forces, defender forces on the earth, parental rules, etc., whatever, speaker contracts, whoever you are, whatever your identity is, celestial dragon, burning one, Lyran, Andromedan, starseed, just awakening person, 12th dimensional, you know what I mean? Coming alive here within what all this is about. So you may be getting these activation codes. I know I sure have been. Okay, this is why I'm able to bring the information forward in the first place and to put it and package it together like this and to speak about it in coursework is because I'm a part of the defender forces that are preparing the next wave of grid worker pioneers, which is the evolutionary technology that's essentially taking a risk to lose their status of free worlds to defend the planet and God's sovereign freedom of the law of one. That's what we are doing. Okay, we are with great rewards don't come without great risks. Okay, and so basically, this means that the organic spiritual planetary defense systems are activating on the planet. Some of you are receiving the call, most likely all the indigo types, 144,000 templating, and those that have graduated from the 144 and have gone beyond into prophecy holder and vision holder of New Earth. So I have been given some intel for the reasons that are important for us all to know. One of these things being what they are doing on the moon. And I haven't talked about the moon for a while because I always try to avoid this conversation. But now that we're talking about defender forces, I do think the time has come to kind of bring into the light, at least on my channel, what is happening on the moon and what has been happening in terms of colonization due to negative outposts. So yes, the dark side of the moon and what they are doing there is a real thing. I have seen this through remote viewing, which I have kind of bit my tongue on this information for a while because I'm just waiting, again, the right time to bring it up. But what's happening on the moon is connected deeply to the rings of Saturn and the outposts in the rings of Saturn and what they are doing within the fleets of cigars, shaped ships that are based around the outer Earth in high astral battlefield realms. So there is onward to, hundreds, 500, 100,000 cigar ships that are stationed around the Earth. And they do use the dark side of the moon as one of the outposts, their farther outposts being located in the rings of Saturn. But why this is coming up is because the planetary defense weapons are also built on the moon as well. There have been things that have happened within light and dark, okay? And some things on the moon are being used to protect the Earth against invasions because the moon is considered our first line of planetary defense outpost, right? So several weapon systems for good and bad are running on the moon, such as particle beam weapons, nuclear bomb satellites, antimatter weapon systems, and plasma beam weapons. And it's supposedly because of the Greys. So we know that the Greys are no good. We know that the Greys cannot be trusted. Any Tothian group or federation that tells you that they can be trusted and they're changing and this is happening and we should accept Greys, don't ever believe that. The Dark Willy Wonka deals are forever solidified in our history. And those were mostly done during the Eisenhower administration. And they have been modifying the atmosphere on the moon to permit extended habitation where food is being grown underground. And the official colony that is operating inside of the moon is said to be a facility as large as the state of New York. That is huge, you guys. This was established in 1961, so this was most courageously done under the Eisenhower and then it was passed over to JF Kennedy. There's somebody pulling into the driveway of the house next door, so I'm just seeing it through the reflection of my computer, but I always kind of keep an eye on what's going on out front of the house, as I do have infiltration that does happen quite often according to my electronics mostly, but sometimes I think we are getting spyware technology that's coming through those that are under handler care, basically. But yeah, John F. Kennedy, okay, the origination, and maybe this is what, again, he was assassinated, so we don't know, but the origination of moon facilities came between Eisenhower and Kennedy. Eisenhower's presidency ended, I believe, right at the end of the construction of the inner moon Newark facility size, January 20th, 1961. So 1961 was being the year that all of this was up and running. And again, this is like obviously highly classified stuff that we're never going to truly, you'll never see this being confirmed or denied via mainstream. But regardless, I don't fully believe that what is being done on the moon is for the greater good, without agendas, partly for world domination being led. And so I do believe that there is one common interest of all races involved up there on the moon, and it is, one of them is to actually protect the Earth from total annihilation, believe it or not. And that is because all races do need the Earth's resources at this time. There is a hand, a tail, a reptilian receptor and antennae that's in the cookie jar. Let's just put it this way. So those weapon systems are under the contingent regulation of guardian resistance, okay? Which means reinforcement and defender forces that do disengage or disallow those weapon systems to be used unless the Earth is under a code red invader, a diabolical doomsday cataclysmic event. So, but in terms of the dark side and weapon systems in the moon, one of the things that I think they're doing is it's being used for alteration of stopping of its rotation. So we actually don't know if the moon being locked in rotation is a natural organic thing. It may have been that they already perfected pull modification on the moon first, got that to lock in place, and then are working now to stage controlled pull shift on the Earth and prepare the tech for the Earth. And so that's kind of a big deal, right? So the moon, again, is swinging on both sides, just to be aware of that when it comes to that. As I know, many of you don't really trust the lunar forces, which ultimately we do have to work with them at this time. We do have to work with lunar forces. You may not want to, you may reject this, deny this, resist this, not want to look at it for some time, but eventually it will come back around to slap you in the face. And it is because for most women on this planet, their force breeder chains, their lunar chains, their suffering chains, their cycles of suffering, their reproduction and fertility is enslaved to it. So you can run from it as long as you can, but until you remove your force breeder harnesses and chains and everything that is tying you, okay, to this, you're going to have to basically go through some form of an extraction process and planetary reconnection to the organic systems process as well, when it comes to the matrices in which you hold within your own personal biofield for regulation. So this is all something that I teach about thoroughly in the implant and seal removal course. I do believe I teach about it in the womb healing course. Again, learn.indigoangel222.com. And if you want to learn more about the Gridwork Facilitator 2.0, you can head over to, again, learn.indigoangel222.com. Let me just share my screen with you guys really fast. Overview of this course, because everything we're talking about today, we are going to talk about in much more extensive detail in this course. If I can get my mouse to switch over. I'm working out of two computer screens right now, you guys, and so my mouse is a little bit sticky here. Okay, got it to switch. Okay, so Gridwork Facilitator 2.0. I did do Gridwork Facilitator, the first one we taught at the end of 2022, beginning of 2023. We've now come into 2024, and it has been a very highly requested coursework that people are interested in, wanting to do more, wanting to dive in. So I finally got the course curriculum up the other night for you guys, like finally invested, committed myself to the dates, the times, and what the classes are going to ultimately be. So yeah, we will be going from beginner to advanced. We'll start on April 17th, and we will, go through the introductory, the fundamentals, the lexicon expansion, the protocol of gridwork mastery. We will be working with our tools preparation and teaching you how to select prime missions for remote and on-site location sessions. And this is important, you guys. There has been a lot of muddiness in the water of the grid worker community, people feeling like people aren't authorized or certified enough to be doing this work. Well, we don't just want some untrained monkey out in the grid field working with all kinds of inorganic and artificial spirits, calling in black magic spirits, cursed spirits to come and try to cleanse the land. So we do want to teach the true shamanic way to properly do gridwork facilitation, how to do this land shamanism. So because of that, we will get into the ethics and challenges. We will address malpractice and community infiltration. We will go over mastering reversal stargates as well, navigating the most challenging grid sites on location on the Earth. We talked about the reversal stargates today, how important it is to know how to manage these sites, because you definitely want to be doing this with care and concern, especially for those that are doing the work with you. We are going to go into never before talked about topics from my previous gridwork course. So this is a great expansion and extension if you've taken the first one to roll into the second one if you're ready to expand here. But we are going to go into the starforts in galactic gridwork, harmonizing planetary energies and architectural defense strategies. We're also going to talk about planetary weapon systems, what we're talking about today, but we will classify and categorize it in much more detail. And there'll be essential insights for global readers and conductors of planetary energy direction, right? Giving you that really masterful edge in making choices, making decisions, knowing that you're conducting the energy in the right way, facilitating and leading and guiding others in the right way. And then we'll get to our final day. So this is going to be 4 live days with me, you guys. You're going to spend 4 straight days with me. It's going to be a lot of fun. People tell me all the time, like, after your courses, I feel like, where did you go? Like, I need more of this interaction. I need more of this engagement. I need more of this information. So, we try to bring as much forward as we possibly can. My courses usually run 2 hours a piece. So it is 4 straight hours a day of teaching, plus we do Q&A. In the last day, we will go more over the sacred planetary defense systems, unveiling ancient wisdoms for organic power generation, earthly spiritual transformation, and accessing inner earth stargates. And then on the last day at 2 o'clock, we will do a group mission together where we run through the organization of the facilitation. And yeah, it's a good time for me to be able to show you guys and give you firsthand facilitation experience. And then I don't know, I'm still thinking about maybe doing a breakout practice room, something of these sorts. We always come up with really cool, intricate homework pieces and ways for you to really develop the skills necessary and needed. Just go back and read all of my testimonials prior from courses. And the cool thing is I do offer payment options, because this is something that I take, a good 3 weeks off of work to develop and put together for you guys. Yeah, I do charge accordingly to what I feel that these are worth. If you were to have individual counseling with me, you're going to be paying way more than what you get for these really jam-packed courses where they are extreme consciousness upgrades, grid worker consciousness upgrade, life-changing transformational information upgrades. So yeah, I hope that I see you guys there at this Gridwork Facilitator 2.0. I know it's going to be something that I'm going to launch here pretty soon, probably in my next most recent email update as well. So again, don't forget to register at the website IndigoAngel222.com. Of course, all the links to this will be down in the description. So if you want to come and just check out the course modules, overview the curriculum, is this something you want to do? Let me know if you have any questions. You can always reach out at info@IndigoAngel222.com, and we would be, happy to answer any questions that you may have. Again, I do believe Noko is going to be hosting for me on this course as well. So come and join us, you guys. We always have an amazing group of very intellectual people. Now, yeah, that's going to be running, just let me clarify the dates, April 17th through April 20th. And I apologize to anyone. I have had to push this out. I have to get myself in the right space to teach grid work, right? Because I veer off into so many different paths. I speak on so many different topics and subjects. Some of these are pertaining to my own spiritual evolution. So sometimes I have to take time out of my life to go through how I'm evolving, how I'm learning, how I'm upgrading, my own personal healing, which I needed over the last month, which was huge. I needed it I had to pull away. I go through it just like everyone else. So I have to make sure I'm in the best place to teach this course because I give my all. I give 120% to everything I do. So I look forward to finally getting to the place that we can do this. This is going to be exciting, guys. 2024, upgrades, upgrades, upgrades. This is what it's all about. Now, let's talk about really quickly. I think this will probably be maybe an update to this one. Maybe I'll have to spin off because my time. But I want to talk about the offensive playbook from the ancient spiritual ascended masters and guardians on the earth. I want to discuss more of these planetary defense systems and how Earth has been installed with ancient sacred spiritual systems that awaken at the right moments to save humanity from total annihilation and destruction, also are working on behalf in those smaller moments as well. We want to talk about, it's something kind of like the movie The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis and Leeloo Dallas Multipass. I don't know the actress's name. Drop it down in the comments if you know, but she was cute, right? And she was like fun, and she had the fifth element. She was the fifth element. This is kind of like what these systems are all over the earth. So one thing that really came to my attention that I just wanted to highlight, especially after speaking with Gene Decode, I talked a little bit about the Easter Islands, the 1,000 guardians on that island. It's one of the most major defense systems that we have, but I think we're awakening at this time in the world to a global energy network of ancient defense systems that extend throughout the total earth. And the utmost Gridwork Facilitator should know about these. This is our source of power to do the grid work. We have to tap into our resources of organic power to harness and to work with the defense forces for greater good of humanity and saving the planet against total negative dark controlling forces. And so there is a network of all the megalithics on the planet where every megalithic site on Earth is superconducted intelligence. Okay, and at every major energy zone, in every major intersection crosshair on the earth, within the most important organic spiritual grid patterns are the megalithic structures. Okay, so we talk about activating light matrices. We have the Lemurian grid, the Swan grid, the Dove grid. We have these light matrices. Well, there's also another grid that's functioning according to the megalithics that are the defense systems. Okay, and so this is basically marked, dotted, and bounded by megalithic structures. These consist of everything from the global pyramid network, in which the pyramid network in itself is a vast functioning global system all in its own right, which we need to get into at some point, right? But this particular megalithic grid consists of the pyramid networks. It consists of dolmens, which dolmens are two or more upright stones with one stone standing across. There's the menhirs, which are tall, upright, erected stones. And then you have stone circles, the ring of standing stones, which the pyramids networks work in cohesiveness with stone circles and temples and spiritually energetic other temples of the Mayans, okay, in the Yucatan, from Giza to the White Pyramids in Tibet. Okay, the whole pyramid global network taps into the stone circle networks as well. And this is another area of gridwork facilitation that needs to be done to clear out where reversals have started to increpitously, insidiously infect the stone circle networks. Okay, so Stonehenge has been one that's been on the radar for a long time. It has been in the hijack zones by the spike matrix. So it's been programmed with an underground Atlantean crystal, and it's been basically a relay station for scalar sonic beams sourcing from Nibiru, which Gene Decode said was Nemesis, okay, which is like the actual name of where the Anunnaki came from. So I do feel that what is hooked up underneath Stonehenge in some way is linked into the passageways under the Red Sea, probably had something to do with the outages of the internet and social media when the red cables burst. And it's all connecting to all of the underwater Orion gate systems. So somehow the negative Orions have infiltrated Stonehenge, and they're working in cohesive with other negative legions and dark forces that operate according to programmed dark Atlantean mind control, fall programming that is basically running a rip and tear through that gate system up into the phantom body of Tiamat's torn parts and pieces of the shadow underworld, running the NRG, which most of you know as the Nephilim reversal grid. You can find this information with Lisa Renee at ascensionglossary.com. But this is affecting 3 degraded 11th dimensional reversal stargates: Stonehenge, Inishmore, Ireland, Ireland's Eye, and also the Irish Sea. And another place that they also call the Devil's Hole in Ireland. And also maybe an area called St. Ives Bay in Cornwall. So all of these are suspected to be 11th dimensional Stargate systems that have all been sucked into reversal according to the main Atlantean crystal built underneath Stonehenge, connecting into Nemesis. And so this would be a huge gridwork facilitator remote mission. Maybe this will be one that I will do actually prior to the gridwork facilitator course. If you're interested in attending a remote session to work up underneath Stonehenge, drop it in the comments. Let me know, guys. And if you're interested in attending that, you would do that just by joining my Patreon at patreon.com, or you can just check my services page, because often we just list it and you can just join based upon mission. So that would be a good one to work on actually prior to coming into the Gridwork Facilitator 2.0 course. So yeah, I'm really thinking about that. I probably will have something up within a week for those that are interested in that. So just keep checking back with me. But most of these megalithics that are running these networks are majorly found in the Northwest Europe region. So that goes to say and speak to which race lineages had vast ancient megalithic technology and was strategically implanting this global spiritual defense system. A lot of it originated from Northwest Europe originally before it was hijacked. So it's kind of a good thing to know that maybe the purity of this land can ultimately be restored. I want to leave us with that hope and faith as we learn more about activating these spiritual defense systems and how to work with them as gridwork facilitators, and really tap into these very powerful megalithic locations that are harnessing the energy lines of telluric currents. And telluric currents are the basic dragon lines, okay? We know that one of the base missions of the grid worker, and as someone who is activated 12th to 48th dimensionally within their ascension capacities, it is about repairing the dragon parts. And it is about these places being heightened force fields and ley lines and energy centers in which will help and heal the earth. There is no doubt about that, you guys. So yes, the time has come. The time has come to step into mission. It has come to step into land shamanism. Gridwork is the new earth revolution in technology, in which supports what is organic, what is natural, and what is in the best interest of humanity. And this is what we stand for. So I love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning into this Cosmic Grid update. And I hope to see you at the Gridwork Facilitator course, guys. We're kicking it off April 17th. Be there. You know, you got to be there. You know, you want to be there. This is going to be the next wave. It's coming in now. So I love you all so much.